Hi folks, long time no see. This is my Victober TBR. Now Victober is a reading event hosted by Kate, Katie, Ange and Lucy, where the idea is to read Victorian literature during the month of October. This is, I believe, the third time I'm taking part in Victober. I do it mostly on my blog and I love it. I've already incorporated this reading event to my literary calendar. Now, the hosts usually set some prompts or challenges for us so as to inspire our reading during the month. And they also have a Goodreads group where we can discuss the books we are reading. So I'll link everything below in case you are interested in taking part. Now, on to my TBR, shall we? Now, this year the challenges are: first, Anne's challenge to read a book by a Victorian female author, and bonus if this author is new to you. For that I have two options. First, Marcella by Mrs. Humphrey Ward, published in 1894. This is the pen name of Mary Augusta Ward, and so far as I know, this is a novel about class politics with a strong female protagonist who is said to be similar to Dorothea in Middlemarch. Now, I've just reread Middlemarch this summer, so I'm curious about this similarity. I also have The Clever Woman of the Family by Charlotte Mary Young, published in 1865. This is a novel about a group of women in a small seaside community and is set to deal with the new woman question. I love this title, and I remember Sean, the book maniac, read another novel by this same author last Victober, I believe. So I have high hopes for it. He loved the novel he read. Next, Kate's challenge is to reread a Victorian book, and for that I have read Pottage by Myrtle Mondeley, published in 1899. This is a novel about two female friends, two women who lead very different lives and have very different personalities. The first one was poor and later inherited a fortune and eventually became involved in a love triangle. And the second is a spinster, a writer who is because of circumstances in her life, she's forced to live with her brother, and there are several tensions going on there. I remember loving the satire in this book, the sense of humor in this book, when I read it in 2015, I believe, and I've been wanting to reread this novel ever since. This is a good opportunity for doing so. Next, Katie's challenge is to read a Victorian book under 250 pages and or over 500 pages. For that I have two novels, two options. Under 250 pages I have Keynotes and Discords by George Egerton, who is actually a woman. This is the pen name of Mary Chavalita Doon Bright. These are two volumes of short stories. Keynotes published in 1893, Discords published in 1894, and both explore women's roles in society and social expectations regarding women in British society. So that should be interesting. Over 500 pages, I have this novel here, Moths by Wilde, published in 1880. This is the pen name of Maria Louisa Ramet. I wanted to have read this book last Victober and did not get to it because it's a beast of a book. This novel is said to be an indictment against Victorian marriage, so this institution is compared to a form of prostitution in the novel. And the title, Moths, is an allegory for society women, so this should be interesting. Lucy's challenge is to read an underrated Victorian book published in the same year as your favorite Victorian classic. Now, it's impossible for me to choose a favorite Victorian book because I have several favorites. So what I will do is I will adapt this question and read a book published in the same year as the best Victorian novel I read this year so far, which was Hester by Margaret Oliphant, published in 1883. So for this year, I have Belinda by Rhoda Broughton, published in 1883, which is said to be a satire on British academia that should be fun. Also published in the same year is A Struggle for Fame by Charlotte Riddell, who is an Irish author. And this is about a woman who is determined to make her own way in the world. Also interesting. There will also be two read-alongs, two group read-alongs going on Goodreads. The Importance of Being Earnest and A Woman of No Importance, both plays by Oscar Wilde. And what I'll do is I will try to listen to the audiobook versions of these plays so that I can participate in the read-along. And finally, during Victober, there will also be a knit and listen along hosted by Mel, Christy, Kate, and Natalie. I will link everything below, where the hosts will knit something. I think they will knit different sweaters while listening to an audiobook, in this case the audio version of George Eliot's Adam Bede. I will also try to take part in it, and I'm planning to knit this sweater here, Summer Wren, by Renate Yerkes. So this is the front part of the sweater and this is the back. The pattern is published in the Lane magazine, spring-summer of 2017, and I'll be using this yarn here, Arbor, in the color Nightfall. I don't know if you can see the color well. So yeah, I don't know if I will be listening to George Eliot, because I think I will knit while listening to Oscar Wilde, these two plays that we will read in the group. Let's see. I will link below some reviews I wrote on my blog for Victorian books I read and loved. So if you are in need of book recommendations, you can find them linked below. That's it. I hope you enjoyed my TBR. There are a lot of beautiful Virago modern classics here. I hope I can read at least one of those books. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye bye.